You've probably tried cognitive approaches, affirmations, rational reframing, thought replacement. Works for about 5 minutes. Then the anxiety returns. The body tightens. The old patterns resume. And you think, oh, why isn't this working? I understand the problem intellectually. Why can't I just override it? Because you're trying to debug at the wrong level. The nervous system operates below conscious processing, faster, independent. Stephen Porges, neuroscientist, discovered something quite elegant, actually. The autonomic nervous system isn't binary. It's not just sympathetic versus parasympathetic. There's a third pathway, ventral vagal, the social engagement system. Safe, connected, present, thinking available. Sympathetic mobilization, fight or flight, resources diverted to survival. And then there's dorsal vagal, or mobilization, shutdown, collapse, freeze, conservation mode. This is where chronic depression actually lives, not a chemical imbalance only, a nervous system state. Let's map the full response set, not just the two everyone knows. Fight, mobilize against threat, aggression, pushback. Then there's flight, mobilize away from threat, blood shunts to limbs, cardiovascular acceleration, hypercapnia possible, too much CO2, and you get tingling in the extremities. Interestingly, panic attacks are essentially a flight response without running. You get full physiological mobilization, but you can't actually flee or run. You're at work or you're in a social situation, and the energy has no discharge pathway, hence the symptoms. And then there's freeze, immobilization with hypervigilance, deer in the headlights, scanning, waiting. Perhaps if I don't move, the threat will pass. And then there's flop. This one's important from a survival standpoint. Flop is like playing possum. Complete immobilization, your body goes limp, but consciousness remains. You're aware, but you can't move, you can't vocalize, you can't resist. The body does this when fight and flight are assessed as non-viable. Evolutionary logic? If you appear dead, predator may lose interest, reduces pain processing. It may increase your survival odds. And this has significant implications for understanding assault. Many survivors have experienced flop, where they couldn't fight, they couldn't scream, and they blame themselves. Why didn't I resist? Is a great question. Answer, because your nervous system made an executive decision without consulting you on that. Flop is especially common in childhood sexual abuse because children physically cannot overpower adults. The nervous system bypasses fight and flight entirely. It goes straight to the last resort. And even in an adult assault, it's the same mechanism. Paralysis with awareness. This is not consent. This is survival. The systematic failure here is significant. Predators use flop against their victims, the survivors. They say, you didn't resist. The legal systems fail. The victim's physiological response determines culpability. Predator logic. Absence of resistance equals consent. That's not how the nervous system works. Not fighting doesn't mean wanting. The body made a survival call, period. And one more response to catalog. It's called fawning. Appeasement behavior. Attempting to manage the threat through compliance, agreeableness, making yourself non-threatening. Please don't hurt me. common in ongoing abuse situations where fight isn't viable and flight isn't possible. You manage the dangerous person, or at least try to. Now here's the piece that explains the cognitive intervention problem. Porges coined the term neuroception. Neuroception. The nervous system's threat detection system, constantly scanning. Safe, dangerous, life-threatening. And critically, this operates below any conscious awareness. It is faster than thought. It is precognitive. The body decides, then thoughts follow, not the reverse. This is why cognitive reframing alone doesn't resolve nervous system dysregulation. You're attempting to override the surveillance system with conscious thought. But the surveillance system doesn't process language. It processes sensation, breath rate, rhythm, body state. You can't debug the BIOS from the application layer. You can't think your way out of a neuroception problem. So in episode 7, we went over beliefs downloaded in childhood. And those beliefs didn't just shape cognition, they calibrated neuroception. If your environment signaled unsafe, your nervous system learned unsafe. That calibration is still running. People are threats. Connection leads to damage. Maintain vigilance, or nothing works, shut down. It's not a cognition problem, it's a calibration problem. And willpower doesn't recalibrate the system. So if you've concluded that you're somehow failing to overcome this through sufficient effort, reconsider. Your nervous system is executing exactly what it learned. In a threat environment, these responses preserved you. Fight, flight, freeze, flop, and fawn. Not dysfunction, survival architecture. The problem is the programming persists past its usefulness. So that's why cognitive intervention alone doesn't resolve this. The nervous system has independent intelligence, gut intelligence, learned threat before you had conscious evaluation, and it's still running that threat assessment. The useful part, if it can learn threat, it can also learn safety. So next episode, what actually works? Not just cognitive techniques, body-based approaches, co-regulation, speaking the nervous system's language. I'll see you there.